In this video, I'm going to show you how to add connections. And there are a lot of different ways to do this because this is one of the fundamental things LinkedIn wants you to do, is add more people to your network. If you've just started, you'll see this box here that's build your network, and that's a nice shortcut. I'm not going to use that just because some people will see it and some people won't. So instead, I'm going to go to add connections right here on the left. It's a little green button, add connections. The first thing I'll talk about is the manual way. You can add people directly, you can invite people directly, I should say, by putting in their first, last name, email address, and then you can edit the invites. This is great when you're going to a meeting or you have a meeting with someone or meet someone new and you get their business card. Then you can put out a custom email. So you can say, you can adjust the subject of the email, adjust how it starts out. I like to use hi, and name of course is going to be the name that you put in up here. And then you could say, for instance, I was happy to meet you at the Chamber this morning, the Chamber of Commerce this morning. I thought it was a great meeting. I'd like to also add you to my LinkedIn network, and your full signature, whatever you put in. Thanks, in my case, thanks, Justin, etc. And then once you have that in there, you hit send invitations and it sends it directly out. So that's a really easy way to add people, especially kind of onesie-twosies kind of adding. When you're first starting out, you're going to do import contacts. That's going to be the first thing you're going to do. And you can easily import contacts from your webmail. So if you hit check webmail, I'm not going to go through this 100% just because, first of all, it's going to change a lot, and secondly, it's pretty straightforward. What's going to happen is you're going to select whichever system you use. Now, right now anyway, Gmail and AOL let you just put in your email address and hit upload contacts, and it'll go ahead and do that. The Windows Live and Yahoo have you go to those sites, and if you hit log in, it'll actually go to that site and have you log in. And sign in. Now, I already did this before. But I don't have any items in there, so it doesn't work. But all you have to know about these is you just click on login, and you log in, and then it'll say you have to accept the connection. You have to accept the fact that LinkedIn is connecting up to your Yahoo or LiveMail or Hotmail, whatever account. And when you log in, it'll ask you that. You just hit yes, and then it imports them in. Your colleagues, and this will show us also, well, let me go back to import. Import, the second way, if you're not using Outlook, if you're not using Yahoo, Gmail, and or you're using Outlook and Outlook Express, see, you might use Gmail for your email program, but you might use Outlook to manage your contacts, or a dozen other ones. Here on the right hand side, when you click on import contacts, is other address book. So if you click on that, it's going to bring you to a place where you can upload a file of an exported list of contacts. Now, on the left hand side, it shows you some of the different programs that you can export contacts out of. And down here at the bottom of the paragraph, it has a link that lets you, it gives you specific instructions on how to export out of many of the main programs, like how to export out of Outlook, Palm, etc. And the other thing you can do, if the instructions aren't here and you don't know how to export out of your email program, then you can go to Google and search for export, put in your email program. So let's say you want to know how to export out of Thunderbird. Then you say export contacts or export address book, a tutorial, and you search for that in Google, and there are lots of sites that show you exactly how to do it. In fact, you probably can look it up in YouTube and see a video of someone who shows you how to do it. Once you've exported the file, it's more than likely going to be a CSV file. It might be a TXT file. It shows you here the different formats. It's CSV, TXT, or VCF, which is probably the Palm format, I'm thinking, although it might be the Mac one. Anyhow, we click on Browse. We find the file on your computer, so you can see, in this case, I put it under My Documents and Backup. When in doubt, it's always good to save. You can save your files into My Documents and make folders in there, because along the left-hand side of your look-in window here is My Documents. So you can always go back to My Documents. You'll see I have it under My Documents, Backup, Outlook. And then I can just import my contact list. I'm just going to choose one of these. You just click on it once to highlight it. If you double click, it's going to skip where you have to click open. If you click on it once, then to highlight it, you click open. It puts it in this box here, and then you hit Upload Contacts File. It brings up a sample, so it kind of shows you how they're configured. Name, your last name, first name, email address, they look good. So we hit Finish Upload. The only reason you wouldn't is if, for instance, you didn't see the email addresses here. Sometimes you might have email address, and that's because of the way that your address book works. Then we hit Finish Upload. It's processing. Now it'll bring in a list of all the people that it found in your address book, minus anybody who's already on your list, or maybe people who blocked themselves from LinkedIn. So what you want to do here is go through and carefully select the people who you feel are not the right people to include in your invitation. So you would come up with a list over here of all the people you want to invite, and you click on the little Add a Personal Note, and I would highly recommend that you change this and put in a note that lets them know why you've added them. So you might say, you're receiving this because you were part of my address book, which means we've done business at some point in the past, and I'd really appreciate it if you'd join my LinkedIn network, so forth. And you can put your real signature with your website underneath for the signature. And then you hit Invite Selected Contacts. I'm not going to do it on this one because this isn't a real profile, so I'm not adding people to it. Yeah, so that's all there is to doing it by importing a file. The other thing that you can do, we'll go back to Add Connections, is you can search by colleagues. Now, what it lets you do is search. So this is especially useful if A, you knew a lot of people in your previous career, in your previous company that you were working in, or B, you are in a big company where you know a lot of people. Then you would use this. So, for instance, InfoReady is just my company, so there aren't any colleagues under that to speak of. The Radio Shack, actually, let's look at InfoReady and see. It says 2 colleagues, so I think the other one's going to be my profile, View InfoReady. No, for some reason, Tristan is in that list. He's the director. All right, so let's go back. We're going to do Radio Shack. And what it does is it just brings up a list of people who are also, in Radio Shack. And you can scroll through that and find the people that you know and check them. And then you can also, add a personal note. Again, I would add a personal note saying, how are things going at Radio Shack? Or how are things going with so-and-so, boss, and then you hit send invites. So we go back to add connections. I'm sorry, let's do classmates. Classmates works the same way, depending on the school, and let you find classmates, and on the school it does it by date, so that it finds other people who were at school at the same time you were. In this case, because this is such a small school that I went to, then there's no one in there. But it would show you a list of people who are also going to school at the same time, and sure enough, you might find people who that you can invite. Now, go back to add connections. Yeah, those are the main ways that you add people to your list. This manual way for meetings, importing the contacts either from your web programs or from an exported address book, colleagues, classmates. Additionally, on the home page, once you have some people added, which I'll go over this in the maintenance side of things. Once you have people added, up here in the upper right-hand corner, it's going to tell you other people you might know. And it's amazing how many people they're able to find that you might know. So that's all there is for adding people to your list. What I'd recommend is that you wait 24 to 48 hours and let all your invites work, and people let people join you so that you have some connections going. And once you have 10 to 20 connections, then we can move to the next step of getting some recommendations. So that's going to be the next video. Thanks.